श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम क्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषयपूर्वगुणां निधे सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नमो धर्माय महते नमः कृष्णाय वेदसे ब्राह्मणेभ्यो नमस्कृत्य धर्मान् वक्ष्यामि शाश्वताम्। नमो भगवते तस्मै व्यासाय तदेशदेशस्य प्रसादात् वक्ष्यामि नारायणकथाम्भाम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्. We're looking at the Karna Parva. Karna was named as commander and he took charge and he formed a array known as Makara array. And on the other hand, Arjuna led on the other side, formed an array called Ardha Chandra, half moon shaped array. And with that, the warriors on both sides they started engaging in the battle and they come face to face. Sanjay continues the narration to Dhritarashtra. He says that then those two armies who happily with the horses, men, elephant, everything, all of them meeting together, they began to strike each other. The men, chariots, horses, elephants, foot soldiers of great strength, they made very huge strikes on the bodies. And again, fighting each other, they cut off the heads of the combatants with crescent-shaped, broad-headed arrows, razor-shaped arrows, and axes, battle axes, like these various weapons. They started cutting each other's heads off. The long arms of those men were massive and they were cut off by men of, again, massive men having long, massive arms. They cut off the arms of the others. Again, those arms with a lot of ornaments, bracelets, and things like that, they fell down on the earth, and the earth started shining as those arms started falling on the ground, and heads with crown and various necklaces and various other jewelries. The body started falling on the earth started shining. Sanjay says that the elephants, chariots, horses, the warriors, all of them fell down, struck down by the enemy's opposition like this. And other warriors, again, they fell down in hundreds and they were crushed in that battle with maces, spiked clubs, and short bulgeons. Like this, chariots also crushed many warriors, and elephants crushed many other elephants, horsemen, and things like this. So men were destroyed by the chariots, chariots by the elephants, horsemen by the foot soldiers by the horsemen. Like this, they were killed one after another, killing one another in that battlefield. The battle continued. And then again, both of them, both sides began to strike, continued that battle. At that time, when the troops were attacking like that, the Pandavas, Parthas, headed by Bhima, they started attacking the Kauravas. And that group consisted of Drishtadyumna, Shikandi, Draupadi's sons, and the Prabhakaras, the Satyaki and Chekitana, Dravida forces, the Pandyas, Cholas, Keralas, and all of them surrounded this array formed by the Kauravas, and they all of possessed of broad chest and long arms and tall stature, large eyes. They all attacked Kauravas, and they all of them decked with ornaments, possessed of red teeth, and like they having strength of very infuriated elephants. They with robes and of diverse colors, smeared with powdered sands, and armed with swords and nooses, capable of again restraining the mighty elephants. They were like looking like the companions of the death. They were never deserting one another. They were equipped with quivers, bearing bows adorned with long locks, and they were again those Andhra tribe men were led by Satyaki in that battlefield. And like this, the brave warriors such as Chedis, Panchalas, Kaikayas, Kurushas, Koshalas, Kanchis, Magadha, All of them rushed forward, and their chariots, horses, elephants, all of them started attacking foot soldiers as well. They started attacking. In that middle, Bhima, riding on the neck of an elephant, surrounded by many other great elephants, he was advancing his army and he was making his forward, and he was moving ahead and he was destroying the troops. He started to burn that Kaurava troops in that battlefield. And seeing his elephant from a distant, Kshemadhurti, who was himself was an elephant, he challenged Bhima and cheerfully moved towards Bhima. And then the elephants came together, and a fierce encounter took place between the elephants themselves. And those two elephants, again having encountered each other, they struck each other. The Kshemadhurti and Bhima, they struck each other with various weapons, and then they separated. The elephants separated themselves from each other. They moved around in a circular fashion and then started trying to attack the other elephant. Then Kshemadhurti and Bhima, taking bow each other, they started striking each other. And all the people started watching that battle between those two. Having great strength, they fought each other in that battlefield. So then each of them cutting off each other's bow, they rode in that battlefield, showering again, taking up new bows, releasing large number of darts, lances, and like this they started fighting. Kshemadhurti, he pierces Bhima, he centers his chest with 6 arrows, and then he strikes again with another 6, and then he strikes with a lance, and those lances again striking to the body of Bhima, who looked very beautiful, Sanjay says, in that battlefield with blood flowing from his battlefield. And Bhima, carefully, he hurls a lance towards Kshemadhurti as well in response. And then that ruler of Kaluta, Kshemadhurti, he cuts off that lance with 6 arrows. Bhima then taking up a bow, he releases a shower of arrows towards him, and he deeply afflicts Kshemadhurti in that battlefield. Then, like that afflicted Kshemadhurti with Bhima's arrows, the elephant could not be restrained, so Kshemadhurti's elephant runs away because of Bhima's arrows, and then Bhima then continues attacking the troops on that side. Then Kshemadhurti restrains his elephant, and then he returns back and he starts with a razor-headed arrow. He strikes at Kshemadhurti. Kshemadhurti strikes again, and Kshemadhurti cuts off Bhima's bow with that. So then he attacks the elephant of Bhima, which Bhima was riding on. And again, angrily, Kshemadhurti once again, he pierces Bhima and he strikes his elephant with many long arrows. And then that elephant of Bhima falls down. And Bhima immediately jumps down from that elephant as it was falling down and stands on the ground. And then he takes up a mace, and with that he strikes and crushes the elephant of Kshemadhurti. And as Kshemadhurti was falling down from that elephant, Bhima strikes again with his mace and crushes Kshemadhurti, and Kshemadhurti falls down lifeless on the ground along with this elephant. He falls down, and seeing him fallen like that, all the Kulutas who were along with him, they were distressed and they started running away, seeing Kshemadhurti fallen like that. Then Bhima continues his battle, and then Karna, he started attacking Pandava troops with his straight arrows, and again, great many warriors on the Pandava side, filled with anger, they started attacking Karna, but Karna in that battle killed a large number of Pandava army. With very long arrows, he started attacking. And while his army was destroyed like that, Nakula rushed with speed towards him, and Bhima rushed against Ashwatthama, who was engaged in battling the Panchala troops and destroying them. Satyaki goes against Kaikaya Princess Vinda and Anuvinda, and King Chitrasena rushes against advancing Srutakarman, and Prativindhya goes against Chitra, and then like this, the battle goes. Duryodhana rushes against Yudhishthira in that battlefield, and Arjuna goes against all those Samsaptakas who are still battling there. He goes after them. Drishtadimna goes against Kripa. Shikandi goes against Kritavarman. Shrutakirti goes against Shalya. And then Sahadeva goes against Dushasana. The two Kaikaya princes who in that battle they covered Satyaki, so we go into a little bit more details of that battle that was taking place. Sanjay explains the Kaikaya princes Vinda and Anuvinda, they were covering Satyaki with a shower of arrows, large number of arrows. The Satyaki on the other, by them fully covered, deeply struck by them. Satyaki, they stuck in Satyaki's chest. Those two princes, Kaikaya princes, they were attacking, and they were together, united together. They were piercing vital organs of Satyaki, and Satyaki then covering all directions with his own arrow shower. He checked those two brothers and checked by those two, by the showers of Satyaki, those two brothers once again they started attacking and cutting off their beautiful bows. Satyaki once again releases large number of arrows. Then taking up two beautiful bows against very strong bows, powerful arrows, those two again started attacking Satyaki with skill, and shot by those two brothers, Satyaki, those arrows coming with conch of feathers and peacock feathers decked with gold like this, they started falling on Satyaki. And those warriors again then cut off each other's bows, and then Satyaki taking up another bow, he cuts off Anuvinda's head with a razor sharp arrow. He cuts off Anuvinda's head, and then that head of Anuvinda falls down on the ground, adorned with all the earrings and crown and things like that, jewelry. It falls down on the ground, and seeing his brother killed like that, Vinda becomes very angry, and he began to resist Satyaki, and piercing him with 60 arrows with wings of gold and weighted stones on one tipped. He uttered, "Wait, wait," and started attacking again. Then Vinda once again strikes Satyaki with many thousands of arrows on the arms and chest of Satyaki. All the limbs of Satyaki were wounded with arrows, and blood was flowing. It looked like kinchuka flowers in the spring season, when that rose red colors flowers covers the entire tree. Like that, Satyaki was looking. Pierced by that, Satyaki, in return, he started attacking Kaikaya, Vinda, that prince, with 25 arrows. And then like this, the battle continues. Those two again, each other cuts off their bow and then quickly kills their charioteers, horses, and things like that. They cuts off, and then both of them jump down from their chariot on foot, taking sword. They started facing each other. Both of them with massive arms. They looked great in that battle arena. They both with shields. They were decked with hundreds of jewelers and shining gems in them. They were attacking each other in that battlefield. Satyaki cuts off with a twain the shield of Vinda, and then also Vinda as well with a quickly cuts off Satyaki's shield as well. So like this, both of them now holding sword in hand without any shield to protect them. They were moving in that battlefield in various maneuvers, trying to attack, find an opportunity to strike the other one. They were advancing and receding at times. They were going in circular motions, and they began to strike and find an opportunity to attack. Satyaki then, with great activity, he cuts off with a side stroke. He cuts off that prince of Kaikayas, Vinda, who was moving in that arena with his excellent sword. Satyaki cuts off, and then that Vinda falls down on the earth. And at that time, Yudamanyu comes there, and Satyaki gets on chariot of Yudamanyu, And then he jumps onto a new chariot, which was equipped with all the weapons he needed and everything he needed, because his chariot or horses, everything was destroyed by Vinda. So Satyaki then continues his battle on a new chariot, and he started attacking all those Kaikaya warriors who were there. He started attacking them. On the other hand, other side, Srutakarman, Arjuna's son, who was filled with anger, he started attacking Chitrasena. The king Chitrasena, he started attacking. He was the Chitrasena is the ruler of was the ruler of Abhisara. So he in return, Chitrasena started striking Srutakarman with 9 sharp arrows, and then he pierces Srutakarma's driver charioteer with 5 arrows. Srutakarma then angrily strikes Chitrasena with a broad, with at the head. He strikes him with an arrow, and deeply pierced by that, Chitrasena feels great pains and he swoons away. During that interval, Srutakarma continues to attack Chitrasena and his warriors, and then Chitrasena recovering his consciousness, he cuts off Srutakarman's bow with a broad-headed arrow and pierces him with 7 arrows. Srutakarman then taking up another bow, he strikes Chitrasena with a large number of arrows. The battle continues. Srutakarman pierces him with a large number of arrows. Then Srutakarman taking he cuts off Chitrasena's bow. Then he pierces again with 300 arrows at Chitrasena. With another broad-headed arrow, he cuts off Chitrasena's head in that battlefield. So like this, Chitrasena falls down on the ground and dies. So seeing this, Chitrasena falling down on earth, all of them Kaurava troops they were supporting were filled with anxiety, and they started running away, fleeing away in various directions. So like this, Sanjay says that your grandson with the arm, he attacking any leftover troops who were battling, he started attacking them. So like the Srutakarman kills Chitrasena. Then Prativindhya, Draupadi's eldest son, he starts attacking Chitra with 5 arrows. He strikes his charioteer with 3 and standard. He attacks, and then Chitra pierced, striking again in the arm and chest with 9 broad-headed arrows. He again strikes at Prativindhya. Prativindhya then cuts off those arrows and the bow of Chitra and deeply strikes him, and then Chitra again strikes back at them. Like the great battle takes place between them, and Chitra, in the desire of killing Prativindhya, takes up a huge arrow, and with the hope of killing Chitra, he releases that, but Chitra cuts off that into pieces, and seeing that arrow baffled, they continue to fight again, and then Chitra similarly releases an arrow which Prativindhya cuts off. Then seeing that Chitra takes up a huge mace and he hurls that at Prativindhya, and that mace kills the Prativindhya's horses and his charioteer and crushes the chariot as well. And then meanwhile, jumping down from that chariot, Prativindhya hurls at Chitra an arrow with a golden staff, and he hurls at that, and on the other hand, Chitra catches that arrow as it was coursing towards him and returns it back at Prativindhya. And striking Prativindhya, that arrow, in return, it pierces his right arm and enters the earth, so it injures him. Then Prativindhya angrily takes up another arrow for destruction of Chitra, and he speedily hurls the lance. This time he takes up a lance and he hurls at Chitra, and that lance piercing through the armor and chest of Chitra, it enters the other side like a snake entering its hole. So with that, King Chitra falls down on the earth and he dies, and Prativindhya covers the remaining forces with his arrows, and then he continues to battle. So Kaurava troops again suddenly dispersed in all directions, seeing these deaths on their side. Only Ashwatthama, without any fear, was rushing forward, and seeing him rushing like that, Bhima goes after him. So then Ashwatthama and Bhima, a great battle takes place between them. Ashwatthama pierces him with large number of arrows, and Bhima strikes them and pierced all over with sharp arrows. Drona's son, by Drona's son Bhima, again was bleeding from all over his body. Then Bhima, covering Ashwatthama again in return with thousands of arrows, he utters a loud roar. But Ashwatthama, on the other hand, baffling those arrows with his own, he cuts off all those arrows and then smilingly he strikes at Bhima in the forehead. And Bhima, taking that arrow on his forehead, Sanjay says that he looked like a proud rhinoceros in the forest bearing its horn. He looked like that. That arrow on his face looked like a horn of a rhinoceros. So it looked like that. So Bhima was there, and then Bhima again smilingly he strikes at Ashwatthama. He did not feel any pain. He was uh, still battling, and he strikes at Ashwatthama in the forehead with an arrow. So Ashwatthama as well afflicted Pandava, Bhima with hundreds of arrows, but failed to make uh, any cause any trouble to Bhima. Similarly, Bhima releases thousands of arrows towards Ashwatthama, injures him, but again he could not shake Ashwatthama in that battlefield with his hundreds of arrows he was releasing. So like this, both of them striking each other, releasing all the weapons they had, one after another, they were battling, and he Ashwatthama placing Bhima on the right side, he started releasing hundreds of arrows, and Bhima as well could not tolerate that. He started attacking, began to counteract and battle. Various maneuvers moving in that battlefield, moving their chariot in various maneuvers. They started striking each other, finding an opportunity, and with hundreds of arrows, they made great endeavors to injure or kill each other, but they could not. Each of them designed to make each other chariotless and strike at their horses or in charioteer. They still could not do. And then finally, they were striking like that. Ashwatthama invokes many great weapons, divine weapons, celestial weapons. Even then, Bhima countered all of them. So, like this, the awful battle takes place between them. All the sides were covered with the arrows coming from these two, and both of them were baffling each other like this. The Brahmana, Kshatriya, both of them, they could not win over them. So again, uh, the strength of Bhima was wonderful in that battlefield, and the Siddhas and Charanas, they were watching this battle in the sky. They were started saying, "How great is this skills displayed by these two?" Both of them stand in this battlefield like two this universe destroying Yamas at the end of the Yuga. Like that, they are battling. They look like two Rudras in this battlefield or two Adityas in this battlefield. They are battling like this, those two of terrible forms, like two Yamas fighting in this battlefield. Like this, they were praising the Bhima and Ashwatthama battling in this, like the Siddhas, Charanas, all of them, and the rishis, great rishis, maharshis as well, who were watching this. They said, "Excellent, O Bhima, excellent Ashwatthama." Like this, they were praising their strength and the skills they displayed in that. Meanwhile, again, having done injuries to each other, they started glaring each other with the eyes rolling in anger, their eyes in red, lips quivered in anger. They grinded their teeth. They were battling. They were releasing large number of arrows, but could not overcome each other, or could not make each other shake. So, having pierced each other's standards, charioteers in that great battle, and also having pierced each other with the horses, they continued to strike each other. And angrily again, those two started taking up large arrows and striking each other, desiring of killing each other. They shot two, uh, two of them, both of them shot an arrow each other towards each other, and those two arrows again striking each other made a sound like hundreds of thunders coming together. And it fell down on the earth. Then both of them deeply struck in that battlefield, injured with the arrows. They sank on the terrace of the chariot. Understanding Ashwatthama losing his sense, his charioteer takes him away. Similarly, Bhima's charioteer Bishoka as well, seeing Bhima very tired and about to swoon on that battlefield, he takes him away from that battlefield. So, like this, Bhima and Ashwatthama they battle. Nobody wins, but both of them were taken away because both of them were so tired after having that injured, so many arrows striking each other. So, like this, they battle, and then Dhritarashtra listening to this asked Sanjaya, saying that you also said that Arjuna was battling Samsaptakas. Tell me, how did Arjuna battle them? And also tell me the battle of Arjuna with Ashwatthama. How did he battle? Tell me all those things. So Sanjaya continues, and he says that Arjuna penetrating into those Samsaptaka force, which looked like a ocean itself, in, and he went after them way into deep into that Samsaptaka troops assembled there in the array formation, and cutting off with broad-headed arrows and sharp arrows, he cuts off large all those Samsaptakas who assembled there with his own arrows, with broad-headed sharp arrows. And Arjuna speedily he made sure that everybody on the earth, everybody falls on the earth because of his arrows, and all of them were killed. So like this, he cuts off with large number of arrows. Uh, he goes out repeatedly, cuts off the horses, the charioteers, the horse riders, the flags, bows, arrows, whatever that's coming with them. So the earth was covered with that. Arjuna in that battle with many thousands of arrows dispatches all of them, those chariot riders, elephants, horses, horsemen, everyone, all of them, he starts sending them to Yama's place. All of them again began to strike Arjuna with their arrows as he was busy in destroying all the troops attacking him. All of them again striking with various, like various bulls striking with their horns. They were attacking him. In that battlefield again between them was great. Arjuna was destroying large number of troops, but still there were so many coming after him. Arjuna piercing them with fast, large number of innumerable number of arrows, it taking lives of those people. He destroys 1,000 great rathis, chariot riders in that battlefield who are all together attacking him, and he was going after all of them. And again, seeing them in that battlefield, Rishis, Charana, Siddhas, all of them were applauding what Arjuna and Krishna were doing. And then at that time, uh, a divine voice, celestial voice said, these two, Arjuna and Keshava, these two heroes always possess the beauty of moon, splendor of Agni, and force of the Vayu and radiance of Surya. They are stationed in the when they are stationed in the same chariot, these two heroes, they are invincible like Brahma and Ishurudra together in the battlefield. These two are the greatest. Hara and Narayana, like this, they are invisible, incorporeal voice says. And hearing this, Ashwatthama, with great care and resolution, he rushes towards Krishna and Arjuna in that battlefield with his arm upheld with an arrow. He goes towards Arjuna, shooting that arrows, and he goes towards Arjuna and smilingly tells them that if you regard me as worthy of a guest before you, then give me with whole heart the hospitality of this battle. So he effectively is saying that like a Brahmana, he goes to him and he says that give me this dana. But the dana he's asking is a battle today. So Ashwatthama goes as a Kshatriya, but he asks for that from Arjuna. When like that, he summons Arjuna to the battlefield. Arjuna regards himself as honored to be asked for that battle by Ashwatthama. And then he asked Krishna, saying that these Samsaptakas should be killed by me, but also Ashwatthama again summoning me in this battlefield. Tell me what should I do first. Um, First, let the services of the hospitality, whatever Ashwatthama is asking, because he is a Brahmana, let this be fulfilled by me first, if you think that is the proper thing to do. So when he says that, Krishna takes Arjuna towards Ashwatthama for that battlefield, and then, according to the rules of that challenge, he goes there towards Ashwatthama uh, in that battlefield. And then saluting to Ashwatthama, doing namaskara to Ashwatthama, Krishna addresses him. So again, remember here, so Ashwatthama is younger in the age, but Krishna salutes him as he approaches him, and before addressing him, he salutes him, does the namaskara, and then he tells him that because he's a Brahmana and Guru Putra, he tells him that then he addresses him. He says that, "O Ashwatthama, be cool and calm without losing a moment. Strike and also bear the arrows coming from Ashwatthama. The time has come for those that are dependent on the others to repay their obligations to their masters. The disputes between Brahmanas are always subtle, but the consequences, however, when the disputes arise between the Kshatriyas, end up in either victory or defeat. Now, for obtaining those excellent rights of hospitality which you asked for from Arjuna, collect them now. Calmly and coolly collect those hospitality which you asked for from Arjuna." So again, Krishna says that whenever Brahmanas have a quarrel, they just argue with mouth and they fight with their mouth and then they disappear. Right? But when Kshatriyas fight, it's either one of them dies, and there is always going to be a victory. There is not that any compromise or anything. So Brahmanas quarrel is always, disputes always end mildly. But Kshatriyas is not like that. And you are challenging a hospitality from a Kshatriya. Now take that, whatever you ask for, whatever you ask as a Brahmana, you asked for a Kshatriya's hospitality, take that now. Like this, Krishna responds to him. And when he was addressed like that, Ashwatthama says, "So be it." And then he strikes at Krishna with 60 arrows and Arjuna with 3. And then Arjuna angrily cuts off Ashwatthama's bow with 3 arrows, and Drona's son Ashwatthama at that time takes up another bow, even more stronger, and stringing it within a twinkling of an eye. That bow, he pierces Arjuna and Krishna with 300 arrows, and again once more Arjuna with thousands of arrows. Then Ashwatthama, with good care, he covers Arjuna all over with thousands and 10,000s and 100,000s of millions of arrows towards Arjuna. From his quiver, his bowstring, his fingers, his arm, his hands, his chest, his face, his nose, his eyes, his ears, his head, the limbs, his pores of his body, the armor on his person, the chariot, the standard, all that places, the arrows started coming when Ashwatthama was battling Arjuna and striking Krishna and Arjuna with a thick shower of arrows like this. Ashwatthama was filled with joy, and he roared aloud like a mass of clouds congregated together and making sound. And hearing that roar, Arjuna addresses Keshava, and he tells him that, "See, O Krishna, this wickedness towards me from Ashwatthama. He regards us as being killed because of those arrows he is releasing through his power, Brahmanic splendor. He is releasing those arrows. He thinks he is covered. But I will presently give him, with all the training I went through and the abhyasa, the learning I went through, and my strength, I will baffle his purpose." Like this, he says that. And then with his own arrow shower, he cuts off all those arrows coming from Ashwatthama, each arrow into 3 fragments he cuts off. And then destroying all that, like a Surya destroying thick fog, he destroys all that and clears everything. And then Arjuna once more strikes with fierce arrows. They started attacking the Samsaptakas. with their charioteers, horses, chariots, elephants, standards, foot soldiers, everything like that. He started attacking, and he continues to destroy it. And every one of those stood there as spectators. All of them were being attacked by Arjuna and shot from his Gandiva, those winged arrows of various types. He killed in that battlefield elephants, horses, and all of them. He started going after up to 2 mile distances. He started attacking anybody coming towards him. He was attacking, and the trunks cut off by him, the elephants were running away, and then with again they were falling down on the earth, and it looked like a large number of elephants falling down, looked like a mountain hill, crushed by Indra. So the arrows again cutting into minute portions, well equipped, so they were destroying the troops in that battlefield, and Arjuna continued to kill those horsemen, foot soldiers of the enemies. And Arjuna drying up that Samsaptaka ocean that was coming towards him, he was with his sharp arrows, and without losing any time, Arjuna once more uh, attacks Ashwatthama in that battlefield with large number of arrows, and then Ashwatthama again once more angrily approaches Arjuna and started attacking him and Krishna in that battlefield. Arjuna, however, quickly cuts off the arrows coming from Ashwatthama, and Arjuna angrily he offers what Ashwatthama desired as a gift, the quivers upon quivers. He the charitable he releases the arrows. Every quivers for quivers, he releases the arrows towards Ashwatthama, just like a charitable person offering everything in his house to a good Brahmana coming to house for bhiksha. So, like this, he offers, and leaving some Saptakas, then Arjuna once again rushes towards Ashwatthama. Sanjay says that he was rushing towards like a donor, abandoning a unworthy Atiti and proceeding towards a worthy one. So it is like again, so if you have a worthy Brahmana to give and unworthy one, you would rush towards to give that to that worthy Brahmana, right? Like this, Arjuna leaves those Samsaptakas and rushes towards Ashwatthama with all his taking all his arrows towards them. So then again a terrible battle takes place between Ashwatthama and Arjuna. Like this, the battle previously between Shukra and Brahaspati. Uh, Previously, again, we'll see that story of Shukra and Brahaspati battle later in Mahabharata detail. But there's a terrible battle between them. Then again, Arjuna deeply pierces Ashwatthama with arrows, and he strikes him in the middle of the eyebrows. And the arrow of Ashwatthama again. Ashwatthama once again takes up and strikes back at the two Krishnas. The two Krishnas, Nara and Narayana, they were deeply afflicted by Ashwatthama with hundreds of arrows. They looked again uh, very much bleeding and a lot of blood flowing from them. Then Krishna seemed to be stupefied when Krishna was confused by those things. Arjuna shot a weapon from his Gandiva, and he released it on all the sides, and he struck Ashwatthama with large number of arrows. And then again, with great energy, Ashwatthama then strikes both Krishna and Arjuna with another shower of arrows. Like this, the battle continues between them, checking each other, the sharp arrows, checking all those arrows coming from Ashwatthama. Arjuna once again covers large number of arrows towards Ashwatthama. So, and then he again started attacking the Samsaptakas, who was attack coming towards him and attacking him as well. So Ashwatthama and Samsaptakas were attacking together Arjuna, and he was battling all of them alone with Krishna, taking that chariot. So with his arrows shot from Arjuna, he cuts off the bows and the quivers and the bowstrings and hands and arms, and like this, hands which are holding lot of weapons, umbrellas, standards, horses, chariots, the robes, floral garlands, ornaments, coat of mail, handsome shields, beautiful heads in large number of those Samsaptakas who were attacking him, those untreating heroes, the enemies on the other side who are attacking him. Again, those well-equipped chariots, the horses, elephants, all of them ridden by heroes fighting with great care, all of them were destroyed uh, by hundreds of arrows sped from Arjuna. All of them fell down along with those arrows. All of them fell down and cut off with broad-headed arrows, crescent-shaped arrows, razor-faced arrows, and the arrows with human heads resembling like those lotus and the like of those sun and like those that of the moon, full moon or the half moon. All this like this, so Arjuna releases, and with those arrows he cuts off those number of those Samshabdakas. Meanwhile, towards the northern part of the Pandava army, loud uproar arose between with the battle of elephants, horses, foot soldiers, all of them being massacred by Dandadhara. And Dandadhara was attacking and turning again towards that the chariot. Arjuna and Krishna they turn towards that, and he addresses Krishna addressing Arjuna. He says that the chief of Magadhas, Dandadhara, he with his on his elephant, he is great strength, and in training and in strength there is he is not inferior to Bhagadatta himself. And having killed him first, you will then kill the remaining Samshiptakas. At the conclusion of that words, Krishna takes Arjuna towards Dandadhara, and the Magadha chief Dandadhara, who was destroying the enemy, his enemy, that is the Pandavas and the Panchala troops that was there, he was destroying there and riding on his enemy, killing that well-equipped elephant. He looked like a Danava with elephant and face and form of whose roar again resembled like of a mass of clouds making sounds. Dandadhara he was destroying with his arrows thousands of chariots, horses, elephants, and men. He was destroying the elephants also. His elephant also treading upon the chariots with its feet pressed down into the earth. Large number of men and horses and charioteers like this it was destroying. Many were the elephants also that were destroyed by the elephant of Dandadhara. They were crushed or cut in pieces, or with its 2 feet and trunk. Like this, that beast moved on the earth like the wheel of death itself, wheel of Mrityu itself. It was going around and killing men from all directions. That Dandadhara was moving in that battlefield. Then Arjuna, riding on that great chariot, quickly rushed towards that great elephant, and the battle starts between Dandadhara and Arjuna in that battlefield. Loud blare of musical instruments, drums, conch shells, and various things were heard as the battle begins between them. The tongue of bowstrings and the sound of palms as well was heard. So we'll see how the battle takes place between Dandadhara and Arjuna. We'll see that next time, and the outcome of that 16 days battle.